Welcome, everyone. This is Joe Dager, the host of the Business 901 podcast. With me today is Ruud Janssen. He is a Switzerland-based entrepreneur that has been an innovator and game changer in the hospitality and meetings and event industry since 1994. You're showing your age there a little bit, Ruud. He is a founder of EventCanvas.org Foundation and Event Model Generation, an event design consulting and training firm aimed at creating a common language for meetings and events. Ruud, thanks for joining me and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Joe, for this initiative. I truly appreciate it.
You know, if I'm writing a check, sending these people to the events, this isn't a bad platform to evaluate an event by, is it?
Well, if I were some organizations that have picked this up internally have now said, this is our de facto method. If we don't understand what behavior we're changing with this event, if I don't understand the promise and I cannot articulate how that promise will be delivered and what jobs will get done and what the cost is and the expected revenue on the other end of it and the time commitment involved, then I can't take an executive decision on whether this is going to happen or not, right? So once you've seen this, you can't unsee it. That's the hard part about it. And some people that are using it are saying, how did people organize events before this thing existed? Well, by sheer serendipity and luck, some events have been fantastic because, the gut instinct of a team can be fantastic. But if I were in charge of the event, like you're mentioning as an event owner, I would like some form of predictability or accountability for those that are picking up the ball on what is this event going to deliver, right?
Yes.
And because what you're saying, there's tons of events and more are coming. But events are probably the riskiest marketing tools in the toolbox. They're the most expensive ones. We know that much. They also change behavior most, right? They're the best activators that you can imagine, but they also have the highest risk profile. So and it was funny to go back to that risk management association or federation. When we held the event canvas up in front of them and they were looking at the analysis of the past event, they looked at it in a different way. They actually said, all the lines, as soon as you cross a line, that's a risk pattern that you need to identify. And we'd never looked at it like that. So they said, every line that's in this thing, when you cross one, that's a potential risk. So we need to see how far we can stretch it left and right to determine the risk associated with that, with that part of the event design. So we were we were flabbergasted. And it's true. If you look at it like that through their lens, they're absolutely right. So it's also a risk mitigation tool if you'd like to look at it like that.
Well, I look at it just how it can proliferate because I've done that with the business model canvas where we've sent it from, at the beginning, then broken it down into departments or either into value streams, as we might call them in Lean. I can see this as an event thing, not only attending an event, but as I come back from an event, how are we going to proliferate that knowledge through the organization and having mini events along the way? Because not every event model canvas has to be this full-blown thing, right? It can be just the obvious Post-it note in each place if you want it to be. Exactly.
Or you could just fill in two parts of saying, here's two things we need to focus on for this upcoming event. To be geeky about this, Joe, I fully agree. I mean, we use the event canvas and the business model canvas and different types of canvases. We created one that's called the stakeholder alignment canvas that has become useful when you have a lot of stakeholders. But in essence, whenever you take those things, it's about speaking that common language, and that's when the words of Alex resonate in my head, about the blah, 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 how do you have a good conversation and have a common language, which is usually the thing that's missing when you're feeling that you're not having a good conversation, right? And good conversation are based around a common vocabulary or common language. Visuals tend to help a lot in explaining that. But just a sheer understanding of, so the innovation is happening in that cubicle, right? Or this is where we're making the change. Or if we change this, what happens there, right? And those mechanisms, those building block mechanisms in your mind, those levers that you have between those building blocks, that's what makes the conversation so sensible with those that understand that way of looking at it. And the most encouraging thing that we've seen there is that, most CEOs or business owners or event owners that we talk with at a high level usually have an understanding of, the business model canvas or have come across this thinking before. And when they see the team at work, they're really confident. Oh, you're really doing your homework. I get that. Da, 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 da. And they walk directly to to where the output is, the prototypes. And it's almost as if they just understand what's there without explanation. And to me, that is like, that's what I'm in awe of, those people that, in a massive information can look at a structure and understand its dynamic because it's visually well laid out, or because it makes sense in their head, or because the order and sequence is logical. And I think this is where, we're making strides in saving people tons of time and headaches to have these conversations up front with the event owners and the strategic owners of the initiatives, instead of having it a half hour before the event starts, right? Because that can be a lot more painful, and people are not their normal selves when you amp up to the last minutes before they go on stage, right? Or so you've got to play with that. When is a team in open mode to think design, right? And when is it in closed mode to land the A380, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to be designing the event's door or the airplane's door when you're landing the plane. And there's only two ways to land it, right?
Well, and I always say that is when you standardize a process, you standardize a form, okay, something like this, or standardize a canvas on the way we do things, people stop trying to figure out the process, trying to figure out the canvas, okay, and they start looking at what's in it.
Yes, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
The canvas is not what it's about. It's about getting the team on the same page. That's the purpose. Yeah. And it was funny, before we wrote the book, people that we trained and worked with said, well, how do we replicate this process? Because we do it by heart and we have to think about it because we created it. And so, in working with our story engagement engineer, Dennis Lyer, and people that have helped us to bottle up the process, we've created what we call the event simulator facilitation kit, which is it's almost like a box that you bring into the event design meeting. And you put it on the table, and there's roll cards, and there's a deck of 45 steps, 45 things that you go through, and you put event wallpaper on the wall. So you've got all the motives to create your event design war room, right? Mm-hmm. And then people go into that mode of, okay, so I've got a role. So I'm the timekeeper, and you're the jester, and you're the facilitator, Joe, and this person is the recorder, and this person is going to be the blah, blah reducer. And we all have a role, and we go out of our normal roles, and now we're going to design an event, right? Let's pretend we are now the speaker. Okay, what does the speaker see? What do they hear, think, and feel? Da, 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 da. What's their behavior? What's their pain and gain? What jobs are they trying to get done? Right? How do they look after the event? Right? Fast forward, then you go back, and then you think about, what's the promise of the event in a tweet? Right? How much time are they willing to spend? What are they willing to spend out of pocket? What do they expect in return? What are their expectations, satisfaction? So you go through all the different things very systematically, but under time pressure. Right. So any stakeholders analysis doesn't take longer than 60 minutes. So it's not that it's a lengthy process, but it's brain exercise. You need to use your brain, or the team's brain. You stretch it quite a bit. Yeah.
I'm on a mission to get away from war rooms, get into fun rooms. Okay, so
yeah. I don't like the word war room, but we call it an event design room. And usually we confiscate an empty office space in the building where these teams are. We say, oh, this office is going to be temporarily confiscated to be the event design room. And people want to go to that room because it's a fun room to be. Right, that's where they play around with the event design.
So, I could go on and on. Love the material. Okay, enjoy it tremendously. Tell someone where they can go to learn more, connect up with you, find the book.
Excellent. So it's very simple. EventCanvas.org is where you will find everything. There's a gallery of event designs as examples. You'll see the book there that you can download the first 100 pages for free. And you can also order the book if you like those first 100 pages. The book comes with a whole batch of online resources that you can use as well with your team, that you can print out, different posters and additional materials, diagnostic tools. We deliver training, so you'll find that on the site as well. There's a certificate in event design program we do as an in-company or at universities like the University of Amsterdam or San Diego State University. We speak and engage with teams in both open trainings and in company things across the world. So you'll see a listing there of where we're hanging out. And if we're in your neck of the woods, give us a shout, or if we're not, then bring us over or reach out to us online. It's either Rolf Visse, Dennis Lyer, or myself, Ruud Janssen. Reach any of the three of us. We're a very small, agile group of people.
This podcast will be available in the Business 901 iTunes Store and the Business 901 blog site, and I encourage you to take a look at the EventCanvas. Okay, thank you very much, Ruud.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, everyone, for listening.